episode of the High Performance CEO Show. Today, I have two guests. I'm really excited to have Nelson here. Nelson is a startup investor, entrepreneur, and the founder of and CEO of Zarttech, and Brendan Thompson, his account manager. Nelson and Brendan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great to have you here. I selected Nelson. I reached out to him a couple of weeks ago because he runs an amazing organization. He runs a company where he leverages technology to solve social inequalities. And maybe, Nelson, you can tell us a little bit what this means. And of course, the audience would like to know your story, how you got there. Because when I look at your profile, when we talk about these individual points in a second, you've done a lot in the last 10, 15 years.
Thank you, Sebastian. And good to be here and good to tell the story. I think it's been an amazing couple of years, 10, 12, 13 even years of entrepreneurship and of the roller coaster. But every day it gets really fun. It gets more interesting. And every day there's always a learning curve, of course. My name is Nelson. I'm 32 years old. And I think maybe some very important information that maybe contribute to who I am today is my international upbringing. I am African. I am Nigerian by nationality. And I grew up between Africa and also the West as well. Also having view to the Western world, to the UK, to Europe, to Asia. And I think this has become a very important part of my being, that international exposure to both sides. So I think growing up, I see one side, whenever I'm in Africa and also with friends, I see people work super hard. And unfortunately, the opportunity is not there to meet the hard work. And whereas in the West, I see people also work hard as well, and the opportunity meets that hard work, and you see the immediate results. And I've always wondered why. And as an adult, also look into this with my doctorate research to really see how I can improve. How will I put it, this developing economy, or how I can contribute from the economical perspective to maybe creating some kind of new model that could help solve some of these developing economy to be better. So what I did is I look at high-performing economies such as the Netherlands, look at their productivity factor, what influences their productivity, and then drew up this productivity model, which is actually around participatory development and conversation to improve the efficiency of education. Because eventually I realized education is super important because it really defines also the quality of leadership, quality of attitude to work, which also translates to the unit of productions, which maybe also indirectly lead to, let's say, foreign investment attractions. Because if I can put in €1 and yield, let's say, €3, then I'll be more interested, right, to invest in that national economy. But if it's the other way around, then I would not be that interested. So all of this, of course, I also open my eyes to just see how this kind of new model can really help developing economy, and even furthermore developed economy as they face a scarcity issue, let's say from the angle of human capital, because human capital is super important. So there's a lot of things that are interconnected that actually brought me to this point, and I'm really happy to be someone who's very knowledgeable in the angle of productivity and human capital efficiency, and also how I could actually contribute to the whole national economy and to the global economy as we become a more globalized economy, relations, corporations, I would say.
You mentioned a couple of important topics. First of all, your upbringings. You said, okay, you lived in different countries or even different continents in the past. So where do you see the main learning points from this time? When you really look back, what did you take from this and apply this now to your business or life as an entrepreneur? What are the big key learning points in living in these different countries?
I think one of the biggest learning points is just that it made me realize how small the world is. And it makes me realize that actually the world is so small, and also that the world is so big at the same time. That the world is very small in the essence that the people that can really make the changes are not that much on a global forefront. And also that's actually the effort to make change can actually be felt on a global forefront. It's easy to actually change what you want to bring the change that you want to see, that you can actually contribute, because I think the more you see the world and the more smaller the world be, and also the more bigger and threatening. I think it's quite a very weird kind of feeling. So that just opened my eyes. I could make changes because I see people that make changes. I get to meet presidents and I realize that they're human beings. I get to see different policies makers, different successful entrepreneurs on the forefront. And you also compare your own competence and your knowledge, and you actually realize that, whoa, this is how it is, this is how things work. And you actually see the similarities that we're not actually that different. In some countries, people are white, in some countries, people are black. There's always trees, there's always roads. We always want the same thing. If you look at it, we're actually the same. Just that some people speak different languages, and eventually we're just human eventually. And then you know that whatever works here can most likely work here. Then you realize that we're all just trying to be better, trying to that even that eventually, regardless of our differences, that we actually want peace, and we actually want the same thing, just that the communication line sometimes are different. So I think that is a very interesting, good learning curve for me, and that also helped me to be able to understand people better and be able to also bring global force together as well.
That's a very great observation. I mean, I completely relate to what you said, that the world is small in the way that we are so hyper connected to each other. On the same saying is that, there are not so many people who are really big change makers. I mean, we are so hyper connected and we are so close also to the big change makers in the world. 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with a business owner, and months before he was sitting together with the CEO of Microsoft. And you see how that the next level connection are almost, you play in an area with the big change makers in the world. And yes, the world is getting smaller because we are so hyper connected. We work globally, and suddenly you realize, yes, in the end, it's like a village, I mean, where are the people who really have a big impact in the world, who really create this massive change that we need as human beings? Yeah, and right here, as you said, we all have only one planet. As a very great observation, and this is something you learn when you travel around, when you live in different countries or work in different countries. You also mentioned there are skilled people, and very hardworking people, but they don't meet the opportunities to leverage these skills. In the end, opportunities you can also equal with capital. So you have areas or countries with a lot of capital, like the Western world. We lack a lot of skilled people nowadays. There's a huge shortage on high skilled people. And on the other hand, there are countries with less capital, so not so many opportunities, but a lot of skilled people, a lot of hardworking, skilled professionals. And I think this is where you close the gap with Zarttech, with your company, right?
Yes, definitely. And you're right that we actually facing similar problems. And even sometimes when you look at one side of the planet or what one person problem is, sometimes actually a solution to the other person. And if you also look at it from the national perspective, actually the scarcity problem in the West is actually a solution to African problem, and vice versa. And whereas African problem is actually a solution to the West. And that's why I really believe in a global economy, because for the first time in a global marketplace, it's actually we removing borders. I always say sometimes that one of the biggest discrimination that we're also facing nowadays in the recent world of 2022 is actually borders. It's actually immigration, because that's actually make the level field not equal, even when people actually given equal chances that they will actually contribute equally or maybe almost equally to the national economy that's allowing them in. But with global economy now, for the first time, we can actually take away that border and make that opportunity evenly distributed. And this only makes both sides of the continent, both Africa and also the West, better at the same time. So it doesn't make one weaker or one, because the ambition of Europe or the Western world, for example, is to produce. But without human capital, especially looking at the future population, currently now the EU population is 450 million people, and this population is going to decrease by 21% by 2050. Whereas African population is 1.2 billion people. This population would increase by 28%, and currently now almost about 60% of 1.2 billion people under 25 years old. So that makes it the most youthful population in the world. So these are all youthful people that still have a lot of lifespan ahead of them, that are eager and ready and able to do the work, and who are also technological savvy for the first time. And for the first time, we can establish an equal partnership, kind of collaboration between Africa and the West with this kind of opportunities. And of course, that's what we're pushing through Zarttech, and we're heavily pushing this notion with a lot of technology that we actually hope and aim that within the next 5 years, we would have been able to validate and confirm 5 million skilled talent globally, and then we're going to be able to connect them to global work opportunities, in fact.
You have amazing big visions, which are like 5 million talents globally. How do you manage this vision? I mean, how do you build your company? How do you lead such an organization with such a big goal?
I think always people, I guess. It's always people, and also it's always start from within as well. That you as an entrepreneur also start something that you love, and also that you also do analysis to be sure that, okay, that you're actually making real impact through your product or through your service. And I think if you have that laid out, there's also more about also trusting other people around you as well, and giving them the space and also the freedom to grow, and also the trust as well to grow, and then let them fly, and let them grow, and let them take that space. Actually, my kind of leadership is actually very interesting, because I was actually about 2 weeks ago, I was going to write about leadership style, because I like writing different things and posting on LinkedIn, because I was reflecting for a while, and I thought maybe this is something actually I should share, because leadership style is super important. I mean, on one side is the vision and the mission of the company. On the other hand is that also with that vision and mission, you also need people to drive this change. You need people to also take a sense of ownership and really move that change that you want to see, because I am only one person, and that's why I always tell my team that I am only one person, but that the dream or the vision that we're building is, that they are equally important part of that vision, and that if they don't do what they need to do from their own side, that this vision will not be a reality. And I think everyone understands that, and everyone feel the impact, and everyone feels that their work matters, that they also equally contribute. And it doesn't even matter, even interns, even interns are equally contributing. And I think I really love that everyone, feel the sense of ownership. Sometimes it can be really, sometimes, especially at the beginning, it can be really tough for new intakes that are coming into the company, because some of them come from the traditional kind of settings whereby they're really like, they're taking through everything. People hold their hands and tell them everything, and then they're really milked and the likes. And actually for a while I was really like, that what is the best kind of leadership style? Is my leadership style approach a really good one? Maybe to just give you a bit of an overview. I like to build teams that are independent. So we've got 3 policies in the company. I would say maybe principle that's guiding everyone. One is independence. Everyone is independent. That everybody have the space to fly and and create anything. And we say make a mistake, but don't make it twice. And when people make mistake, we don't like tell them, oh no, you just be like, yeah, it's fine. Even if you lose a client, it's fine. We're gonna get another one. But then that's people. But the policy is that that you make a mistake, but don't make it twice. So we give that independence, but with that independence come accountability. So that means if something goes wrong, with that independence comes responsibility. So you're responsible for that role, and you alone kind of make that decision. But of course, there's some big decision that you need to come to me for. But most of the decision, people are actually able to execute a decision on my behalf within the organization. But then also that you're accountable. You're accountable for the success or for the failure. So if something goes wrong, you need to be like, yes, this is my fault. And, then when you take that accountability, then that means you've learned from it. But if something also goes right, we're like, whoa, yeah, you did it. And then we celebrate that success as well. So that's those 3 policies has been the policy that we've been running within the company. But I also realize that sometimes if we have a wrong hire, that we want people to mentor them, or people, of course, we also have mentorship. Mentorship is more that we come for help when you need it. So it's not that we would come to you and bring the food to you, but whenever you need the help, you can always come and reach out that, listen, guys, I need this help. How can I do this? How can I do this? Or let's say when we also see that people are also struggling as well, then we can, of course, plan a meeting as well and check in with them. But usually from the onset, we expect this proactive attitude, that people are able to make their own research and also equally also ask questions. Because what's happening is that when we have this policy that people are independent, it means that if inside the company we have a lot of running entrepreneur, like running engines. And then when we have a new engine plugged in, if that engine is not able to tap and connect to like rolling different wheels, then that engine would actually get lost. But then when we have the kind of best hires that we have now are people that can get in and know and are proactive, and they can get themselves connected. And of course, there's always information, because everyone is so independent, everyone is executing. So when we have those proactive kind of attitude, then we also have more, even stronger workforce. And for us, it's not about experience, it's more about that attitude, ability to plug yourself in and connect and be able to ask for help whenever it's needed, before it's too late, like right away ask for help and not be shy to ask for help, but also be able to execute, make mistakes, just execute, and then we're going to come back and review that execution. I think that's what I've really helped us to save a lot of cost, because even when you're able to train somebody from zero today, as long as they have that attitude, and they will be even more highly productive than even senior people that cost maybe 10 times even more. And I think that's something I'm grateful for, but sometimes it can also be very tough, because when the wrong hire comes in and you see them struggle, then you're like, oh, should I spend more time to mentor them? But also, if you hold the ends too long as well, yeah, it's just not the start, because also after feeding them for a while, they might also struggle even later on. But I think that's also, maybe that's the downside to this kind of leadership style, because if people don't have that kind of zeal and ability to run at that speed and be able to and be that proactive, then we can also miss out on some kind of people as well, which is, yeah, I think maybe that's the downside. And I've been weighing the opportunity cost, that what is better, or should we still try to have a more slower system that can allow those people in as well and be able to blend it, or should we just continue with this high performance zeal team? I think that's where I'm still having time of struggling. Yeah.
I think it also depends on the type of people you have in the team. Yeah, I mean, there are people who can really work with high pace, high performance, and there are people who need more time, need more information, more data when they are making decisions. Yeah, so we use the DISC model. I'm certified. I use this for my mentoring and team development events. And what we do is we run a DISC profile for each individual. Yeah, and then we see what their behavioral tendencies. Yeah? Are they fast-paced or slow-paced? Are they task-focused or people-focused? And in the end, it's neither wrong or good. It's just the way how to communicate with those people. Yeah? What do they need in order to be successful and to be performant? So I think there are tools which you can use to really get behind the psychology of the people. Yeah. What I really liked is your statement that you include everyone. You do not exclude interns or other people who are not fully employed in the organization, which I think is really clever and wise. I had a conversation with a client a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about who to include in a team development training. And he asked me, shall I include our contractors? Yeah. And I said, how much time do the contractors work in your business? 100%. And I said, of course, you should include the contractors in your team development, because in the end, they are part of the team. You want that they perform, so you should also help them to perform. Yeah. So I really like this approach. And also coming back to attitude. I mean, for me, also attitude is the most important thing when I hire people. You can train for skills anytime, but you cannot train for attitude. I mean, this is definitely the case. But let's ask Brendan, maybe, because you talked a lot about your leadership style, but how is your leadership received by Brendan? What can you say? You're working with Nelson now for almost 2 years. What kind of leader is he?
I can say a lot of things, of course. There's many qualities to define a great CEO, right? I think, as you mentioned, attitude in the people you hire. I think for me, attitude is also really important when it comes to the person leading the company as well, right? So the person I would want to work with, or someone I want to also lead the company I'm working in, is someone that has that attitude, has that drive to pursue what they believe in, right? I think with me, the first time I also spoke with Nelson and we had our intake interviews, like before I got hired, that's also something, because I knew already what our company stands for and what we want to achieve, which is the reason why a lot of us that are working right now in our company was attracted towards working in the company in the first place, right? But that doesn't mean anything if the person that's driving the company isn't doing their best to make that goal happen and is the right person to make that goal happen, right? So a lot of the things, I mean, for me personally, when it comes to how I perceive Nelson, is his attitude towards what he believes in. I think he really has a strong drive to pursue that. And at the same time, he's not only ambitious, but really influential. Because someone can be highly ambitious, but if you're not able to influence the people or your network or the people or the factors around you to achieve what you want to achieve, ambition doesn't mean anything, right? And I think as you see him speak as well, the way he speaks can be quite influential as well. It can have a really strong impact in how you perceive his words, but also how you perceive him as a person, right? So, for example, I know, let's say the day gets colder, or the days get shorter, it gets colder, people automatically lose a bit of motivation, right? Then Nelson would come in a meeting and give a short minute or maybe a 2-minute speech to raise back everybody's like morale and attitude, right? I think someone that's able to do that and do that on an effective level is a really important aspect or quality to have in a CEO. And I think that's how we also perceive him. I think universally in our company, we perceive him as someone is not only ambitious, but can influence not only us, but the people around him as well. Yeah.
Who's also an energy giver.
Yeah, exactly. An energy giver. Exactly. Yeah.
There are energy takers and energy givers in life. And of course, as a leader, as a CEO, you've got to be giving energy to employees. But you also need to look out for energy takers or energy suckers in the company and either develop them or in the end move them if this doesn't work, because they can suck out all the energy of your other employees in your other team and have a disastrous impact on the organization. But I like what you said. He can also influence people. Yeah? This is a skill leaders need to have or need to develop, how to really change people for the better, for the good, how to influence them, but not in a negative way that we manipulate them, but influence them that they are going in the same direction as the company is going and executing on the right path, which is awesome. Thank you, Brandon. Maybe talking a little bit about Zarttech, about practically. So what kind of experts do you provide? What kind of specialists from Africa can companies in the Western world, for example, find at Zarttech? And you talked about 5 million people in the next years. So how can I see this?
Thanks for the question, Sebastian, and thanks for the kind word, Brandon. Our message in Zarttech has been really a very big part of, and also the vision that we want to accomplish has been a very big part of our success, because I registered the company in 2020 and we went to market January last year. So that means we're still like a year plus. And at the moment now we have almost about 40 employees within the company. That's quite a very quick and fast success for our kind of organizations, especially since we haven't raised funding at all. And also despite being a startup, we've been able to attract almost about 16,000 senior IT experts from Africa. And at the moment as well, we also realize that also there's talent everywhere globally. Let's say South America, in Asia, there's a lot of developing economy that also equally needs the help or the connectivity to global opportunities. And also even here within Europe, there's a lot of minorities. There's a lot of people who are not able to connect to that global opportunities. So we've also, starting from January next year, we would expand our pool as well to a global pool with our technology, with our IP platform that we're launching in January, that will help to be able to validate people for who they had, that I am Nelson, and this is my identity, and also that I can do what I say I can do. And then with this kind of identification, we can also solve a lot of obstacles that is standing between that opportunity, because we realize the opportunity is there. People have the best intention, but the opportunity does not get to the people who need them because of lack of trust. So if we can create this kind of IP software that we've been working on the past 8 months and then launch it in January, that we can also help to mediate that trust. And when the trust is gone, then we can actually be able to easily foster these collaborations between the skilled people and then the opportunity globally. And then we can leverage technology to do this on a mass scales, such as, identifying 5 million people, and then they can be connected to global workforce. And on this pipeline as well, we're also connecting banking infrastructure as well to this skilled worker to be able to, let's say, receive payment and also trade in our own Web3 token as well between each other and do, like, let's say, monetary transfer. If you see, what we're building is actually a whole infrastructure to connect a global workforce and remove the border and also remove all the difficulties or all the obstacles that is preventing such kind of collaboration. And we're starting that with Zarttech now, where we connect just senior developers, either from Africa or from the EU. They either work remotely from their home, from the comfort of their home, or they work on site with our clients. And we connect them to global work opportunity, or we also do software development. We've got a lot of competencies, because you can just imagine we have access to 16,000 talent, and majority of them, they're ready to start in a month from now. That's just to show you the power of, in terms of talent power and skill power, that's where we come in. And these talents are super attracted to us for the message, also for the fact that we're just not profit driven, but we're actually mission driven. 2% of our revenue goes to a foundation that aims to train 2,000 females in tech in the next 5 years. this foundation as well. Even despite that we're such a small organization and we don't have all the means and all the power that all of that big organization have, from the day one, we've made it our intention to be social. We've made it our intention to push the changes that we want to see, and not just sit down and wait for those changes to be done, but rather to actually be that pathway, that bridge that connects different assets. And I think one of the things that we strongly believe is that people have the best intention, that it's just a matter of obstacles that are blocking this interaction. And what we want to do is just take away those obstacles and then watch that organic collaborations happen and build infrastructure, of course.
To put it in simple words for the audience, you build a platform, to connect the workforce in developing countries with companies in the Western world. How do you differentiate from existing platforms like Upwork or Fiverr at the moment?
Yeah, I would say anybody can access Upwork. Actually, there's a lot of people that have experienced fraud on Upwork. So, and also for them, it's more about volume. Mm-hmm. For us, the platform we're building the first 6-step verification platform. So people get onboarded. That's why I mentioned at the beginning. So we actually identify people, and this platform you cannot get in twice. And you also get an ID, which is a universal ID that employers in the future can actually use to identify who you are. And this ID, also your platform, your access as well, also validate your skills. And for every skills that you have, also your skills are also fully validated as well. You also own your bank account on it. You can also even get soft loan in the future from our platform. I will also have a Web3 tokens as well, because a lot of this developing economy, they have very poor financial infrastructure. So with this, we actually built an identity, because even for a lot of developing economy, they don't have a legal form of identification. So now we've solved the identification problem, because we know who they are, we've validated them, and we have a facial recognition system also that also validate their ID, also their addresses. We have this 6 comprehensive step of validation that we do, and with this, we're sure that the people that says that they can do what are actually who is actually doing the work. We also solve a lot of new challenges that remote work poses. And when we do this, we also presenting this platform as well to businesses in the future to also deposit their contract into our system, so that we can also solve problems like nowadays with remote work. What we also notice is that employees now, when they work remotely, they have 10 or 15 jobs. Of course, this is I'm exaggerating now. Productivity also goes down as well, because there's no way that you're just one human, especially if you have a 40 hours a week job, and then you have 2 of them, 3 of them lined up, that you would not, one will suffer, right? And employers, of course, in the contract maybe says that they are not allowed to do that, but because they're working remotely, there's no way to validate that. Exactly. So now we've also made a solution whereby employers can come and deposit their contract. Of course, if there's an agreement between employer and employee and saying that what those for extra work is not allowed, then that employee will not be able to post their profile onto public-facing job profile. But of course, if their contract doesn't say that, then of course they're also allowed to get other jobs on our platform as well, and utilize our own infrastructure to receive payments, apply for soft loan, also do payment transfer between each other, utilize our platform for project management. And also, we also, for the very first time now, we've tokenized stock appreciation right for businesses to be able to instantly, on a daily basis, reward the employee as they do the work, because we also realize that employees need instant gratification, instant reward. It's not like before when employees are waiting for like 10 years now, but they can actually see in real time how as they perform, and they're also being rewarded with their stock appreciation rights in block, which you slice in blockchain technology with our token, which we also appreciate as well over time. And we're really excited to launch this in January. With this, we can actually be able to, these are all the strategies that we put in place that will push us to be able to identify 5 million people in the next 5 years. And then with these 5 million people, we're also creating a public-facing marketplace where they can now be connected, where people looking for skills in the future can just come to this marketplace and connect directly to these skilled workers.
So you're solving a lot of problems the existing platforms have at the moment, like trust, as you mentioned. I mean, I'm working a lot with platforms like Upwork and so on, but yes, you don't really know, does this person is a real person? Sometimes they have different accounts in the same platform, or you hire someone and he has 10 people in the background helping him and he's charging 10 times.
Exactly. Because we also understand some of the difficulties of developing economy as well. It's also hard to validate people. So actually we have a lot of very interesting new innovation that doesn't exist at the moment. that we're just really excited to launch. But again, of course, we're also a very agile company as well. Of course, we don't have a lot of resources, but where we're heading to, we would be a very huge big changer in the next 2-3 years to come. And we're really excited for these big dreams and this big vision. So this is quite exciting to just build this kind of infrastructure ecosystem that a lot of things can be built on over time. So for now, we're just strongly focused on the human resources side of things. And also, that's also why you see the way we started is that we started from, we call it 3 levels. So we have level 1, which is Zarttech, which is what we've been doing. And a lot of people think that we're a recruitment company. Sometimes when they call us recruitment company, we smile because we know that they don't see where we're going to. So, but this is just like level 1, whereby we connect, we do a lot of manual work and we connect African developers with global opportunity. But level 2 is actually going to be where the big game changer is. And level 3 is actually where we would actually take up a lot of other bigger platforms and really be able to decentralize a lot of things, give power back to the people, because there's a lot of things. If you really empower people, I do believe that people have the best intention, and if you could create a platform where people can equally empower each other, I think you can just trust people to do the right thing, especially if you give access. And it's been proven so many times. And also, that's also what I also believe with leadership style as well. Give access, trust people, and then people that really have the best intention, they will accelerate. And we've seen that as well in countries whereby people are really empowered. Like, one of the reasons why I really love Netherlands is that, there's a lot of freedom for people. People are really empowered. And what you also see is that people also then, when people are empowered and people have a lot of freedom, what you see is that people then start to behave in the right way. They start to behave more like humans. And then the more you try to control as well, then the less reliant people are. So what we also try to do is just leverage a lot of technologies, create this kind of ecosystem that we can trust people, solve the issue of trust, build the infrastructure, and create notions that people can, let's say, for example, the public is level 3 that we're building now, is that level 3 we're building after we've built the job ID that we're launching in January. The level 3 is that we're actually creating a marketplace. With this marketplace, anyone on this marketplace can be earning passive income globally. So if you're a digitally skilled person and then you are on this marketplace, your profile is there on this marketplace, we will be able to provide you with passive income. And what we've done is that whoever gets an opportunity through this marketplace, we advise them to donate back to this marketplace 3% of the revenue back to this marketplace. And with that, also with the subscription fee that we're also getting for this marketplace, we're able to create value whereby we can then reward every other people who haven't also gotten the same opportunities as other people, as long as they validated themselves and their profile is live on this platform, that they can also earn equally as well. Of course, it's not a lot of money, but at least that also solve some of the poverty on in-access that people are also having nowadays. Then we can also encourage people that really wants to, that really want to work to also come on this platform, validate themselves, show their profile. As long as their profiles, they've gone through all the processes that they need to do, which is a whole lot of expenses to show the trust, to validate their ID, to validate that they're also ready to take up work. As long as they are doing that, then they will be rewarded every month until they also get another job opportunities as well. And if you look at the whole global opportunities and scarcity, there's actually enough work to go around because there will be more scarcity.
Definitely.
Population will keep decreasing, and also our need for technology will keep increasing. And until we start building robots that can take over the workforce, we will always need human capital. But if you can solve this scarcity with this global leveraging and also trusting the people, building platforms that allow people to actually leverage each other's strengths and weaknesses, I think the world would be made a better place. And I don't need to do it all by myself. It's just build a platform and allow people to actually also come and also co-build it with us as well.
Exactly, and it will grow and develop on its own. Yeah. Just one last question: how do you solve the problems of skills? I mean, a lot of people, they always claim that they have certain skills. They put it in their profile. This is one way. Other people, they do a lot of things, but they never update their profile. Yeah. So how do you solve this problem?
Yeah, I think on our platform, if you say I have the skills, there's an exercise that you need to do, like an exam that you need to do. One of the good thing about our platform is that once you're validated for your skills, employers can always trust that you can really do that. So you don't need to keep revalidating yourself again. And also the problem that employees need to share their CV with 1,000 recruiters globally, and all your informations are everywhere and floating around in different parts of the world, and you have no control. Now we also solve that problem as well. So you can actually take charge. You can actually take charge of where your information are. You've been validated, and you don't need to do that again over and over again. with every employer that you meet, in fact. So for every skills that you say you have the skills, that skills you must do an exam to validate it. So you cannot just say, like LinkedIn, for example, like Upwork, for example, like what you mentioned, you can create 10 different profiles. We have our own IP system that validates that. So on our system, you as a human being, you cannot come in this platform 2 times. It's not possible. And also you as a human being as well, you actually the only one that can log your timesheet as well on your system, on your mobile phone. If you go to another mobile phone, you're also going to map that identity to that new mobile phone as well. So this is really airtight in that essence. So we really solve a lot of these problems, and it only makes life easy for people that really want to do the work, for people that have the skills and have the best intention to do the work, and also for employers that also need people that really want to do the work and also want to be ready to be a good employer as well. Because also from employers as well, we also have ratings for employers as well, that also people that work for employer can also give rating to those employer, which also every future employee can also see as well. So I think it's also more of a multi-sided kind of control system that we're building.
Builds trust in both ways and control in both ways and credibility and visibility for both parties. I mean, it's an amazing vision. Yeah. When I remember when I hired my first, I think, assistant 20 odd years ago, I have put an advert in a newspaper. Yeah. And then I got written applications on file, And look, these 20 years, how business has developed is breathtaking. Yeah. And I could talk to you for hours. You are an entrepreneur. People should really follow, see what you create in the future. Your vision is amazing. I cannot really see your eyes, but I feel your eyes sparkling and being full of passion for this topic. Knowing the market, I'm working a lot with people from all over the world on different platforms. You solve really existing problems, which sometimes cause me a headache. And I can only wish you best of luck with this business. And
thank you so much,
also, Brendan, I think you chose an amazing company to work for. Thank both of you for your time today. You shared so much incredible knowledge and a vision which will help everyone working in this field to really see the future and see where we're going. All realizing that existing problems many of us have at the moment, because we don't find the right skilled people, they will be solved in the near future. So we can only wish you best of luck with your mission. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah.
We definitely need to stay in touch.
Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank the both of you.
Thank you.
Have an awesome day.
You too.